Hey, this is Brady from the greatest band in Fredericton, StrychninE, and today we're going to be talking about my guitar technique. My guitar technique is very unorthodox and undisciplined. I'm not a virtuoso on the instrument. I'm not a master at it. I don't know musical terms all that well. I'm a very undisciplined player. I can't read sheet music to save my life. I'm not even that good at reading tabs. I don't know scales. My technique is basically just borrowing from the players I listen to. From Ace Frehley to Billy Gibbons, Eddie Van Halen, Slash, and even some of the pioneers like Hendrix and Page. I just take some of their licks and I put it into my own, whether it's bending the strings and all that, or hammer-on pull-offs, and I'll do the hammer-on pull-off just going down the strings, and sometimes it's a little tremolo picking, and that's pretty much my style. It's very much, I guess, the best way to describe it, it's pentatonic licks, and that's pretty much all I know. Since I'm not that good with musical terms, I basically just take the licks like something like that, and I just amplify it. Whether it's tremolo picking or whatever, and with a lot of distortion, I can make it sound good. And a lot of the solos that I've done are pretty much the same techniques over and over, but it sounds good. I'm happy with the way it sounds. There's one little lick that I will never claim that I invented this, because I know I didn't, but I don't see a lot of other guitar players use this. There's the normal type of bending the string and then pulling it back down and then letting go of a hammer-on pull-off, where it's a that whole thing. And what I've decided to add to it was the tremolo picking, just all that. So when I go to bend the string, it sounds good. And I did that in two of our songs there. I did it in the solo for Vampire Zero, and I did it in solo for Hardline. In the part where I'm doing in the very beginning of Vampire, all that, and then it's going. I don't hear a lot of guitar players do that, but I'm glad I add to it. It kind of gives the illusion that you're playing more notes than you actually are. But I like doing that. I like doing that whenever I do a solo live. It's always good to have more songs. it's like the 70s style tones where you just plug it into a Marshall and you just crank it. You know, I don't really use a lot of effects, maybe a distortion pedal just for volume, just to make the solo a little louder. But usually I just plug directly into the amp and crank it, and that's my sound. And on my Marshall here though, which is a 100, one of the code amps, I usually have it set to like a concert hall setting, which gives it a lot more reverb, makes it sound like it's playing in an arena, and I love the way it sounds live. And we usually get a good reaction every night from our sound. Like, a lot of people love how heavy we are, and I'm very proud of that. If a musician were to ask me how to play like me, pretty simply put, I would just tell them, you know, you probably already know how to play like me. You just borrow from these guitar players, whether it's Ace Frehley or Slash or Joe Walsh. Just listen to them and just take their techniques and put them in a blender, basically. And that's my sound. And it's all techniques, like bends on the strings, hammer-on pull-offs, the old firehouse chicken picking, like, you know, that stuff, and pinch harmonics. Like, just take all those and you can achieve my sound, pretty simply put.